Okay, so I definitely wanted to shoot a video today because I didn't get a chance to yesterday because I was just like way too tired and stressed out about certain things. And okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. My mom's in the hospital right now. And I'd known she was going to have to go into the hospital for a while. She was going to need to get an operation. So I'd been kind of stressed out about my mom getting this operation. But she came through it okay. She's doing just fine. So don't worry about my mom. She's doing a lot better now that she's had her operation. So so I wound up sleeping a lot. Like last night, like I think I slept better than I've slept like in months, and I think it's probably because like a lot of that stress was off of me because I knew she came through it okay, and she's doing just fine, and my sisters are with her right now. So uh, she sent me a nice picture. My sister sent me a nice picture of my mom from the hospital, and she had a big smile on her face, and she looked like she was tired, like she'd been through a lot, but she looked really happy and positive. So that was good to see. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and open up this figure that I said would be the next thing that I would open up, and this is Nightforce Tunnel Rat. So when I ordered the Nightforce Shockwave and the night assault cycle or whatever they call that. It's the Ram. It's the Ram, but it's in dark gray. When I ordered that one, I saw that they had Tunnel Rat for $10, and I'm like, well, I can't say no to a $10 Tunnel Rat. And I figured I could use an extra for customs or whatever, but I didn't realize that they had a Nightforce Tunnel Rat already. So yeah, I wound up getting a brand new figure for $10, which is crazy. Uh, but here's the layout on the back with all the accessories. I mean, it's not like a brand new figure. Obviously, it's one that's been out for a while because it's in the plastic-free package, but it's brand new to me. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't even realize that they released this guy. He's at 107, so he's like a while back. You know, I've opened like 138 here recently. So that means there's been like 30 figures since this guy came out. I had no idea that they had a Nightforce Tunnel Rat. No idea at all. So anyway, let's go ahead and open them up. I do really like the portrait on the side. It's some nice artwork. It does look kind of vaguely like Larry Hama. More than the figure looks like Larry Hama. For those of you who don't know, the original Tunnel Rat action figure from the 80s was based off of Larry Hama, the writer of G.I. Joe, the guy who basically created most of these characters. Like, the designs were there because Ron Rudat did the designs. If there's two guys that I mainly credit for G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, it's Ron Rudat, who created, like, the visual look for it, and Larry Hama, who gave it its flavor and its personality and created all the characters and named all the characters. And you know, those two guys deserve like the lion's share of the credit. And I know there were other people on the team besides them, you know, various artists of the comics and, you know, various, you know, designers and engineers and things like that. But the aesthetic and the mythology of it came from those two men respectively. So here he's got this satchel, all this stuff in the infamous paper envelope, and then this machine gun. Rather a large machine gun for a guy who's supposed to be a tunnel rat, but I'll talk more about that later. We have a silver ammo belt with some brass detailing on the not shells, but the thing that holds the shells together that actually makes it a belt. It's all like a bunch of little links that fit together. It's pretty fascinating how all that works. And we got a huge backpack. We just saw this backpack recently when we opened up the Slaughter's Marauders version of Lowlight, and then the revolver. I like that Tunnel Rat comes with the revolver. That's really cool. And then some night vision goggles. Good to have when you're a Tunnel Rat, period, but also really good to have when you're a Nightforce Tunnel Rat. I guess extra good to have. And then we have the ammo for the machine gun. Why don't we go ahead and put that in there so we don't lose it? And plug that into the machine gun. Let's see, I forget which way it goes. Does it go on this way? Where's that Nightforce machine gun? The one that came with Shockwave. I had that around here somewhere. At least I can make sure that those were consistent with each other. I think oh, here it is. Yeah, so the ammo goes in on that side. Okay. And you can see it's got got your red on the front. It's supposed to evoke that it's a night vision scope. But yeah, the original Tunnel Rat figure had like a huge scope on its machine gun. All right, let's see what else we got. Of course, we got the flashlights. Got to have the flashlights. Those were some of the best accessories that came with the original Tunnel Rat, I think. And then, last but not least, I'm pretty sure that's everything that's out of there. Got a huge freaking knife. The Tunnel Rat's not the tallest character. He is a fairly short character among the G.I. Joes. But he comes with a big honking machine gun and a big honking knife. So that's good. Despite the fact that he was drawn to look like Larry Hama, Larry did not base the character of Tunnel Rat off of himself. I would imagine there's probably more of Larry in Storm Shadow than any other character. But there's probably a lot of Larry in Snake Eyes also. And there's, I think, a little bit of Larry in Tripwire. Since he was G.I. Joe's first EOD, and that was what Larry did when he was in the Army, he was EOD. So yeah, here we got him out of the package. Now, I always thought that Tunnel Rat was kind of a strange choice to put into Nightforce because the original Tunnel Rat figure was already wearing like a lot of dark clothing, but here we got another Tunnel Rat with a black shirt and gray pants. So he is in the kind of a dark green and gray camo bandana, dark green bandana around his neck, kind of a dark olive drab green. I can't really tell if this is in this light. I can't really tell if it's green on the web gear. You know, both the stuff on his legs and his shoulder holster. I think that it's olive, like a dark olive green, but it's hard to tell in the light in here because it's kind of yellowish. I should probably get like a lamp to shine down on things so I can tell what color they are. And he's got this, I forgot to show that with Shockwave, but he's got this Nightforce insignia on his shoulder, which looks like a globe with like there's a better picture of it on the package. But I can't quite make out what that is. Maybe a griffin, like a winged lion. It looks kind of like a griffin. Maybe a griffin holding a snake. I'd like to get a better look at that. And he's got the little watch with, it looks better on the package, but you can still see there's a little bit of red on there, like a little countdown. Probably something from like he plants explosives. It's like a little wrist mounted detonator on there. So yeah, one of the stranger things, not the television show, not in the Netflix original, but one of the more odd things about the vintage Nightforce Tunnel Rat is that unlike the version 1 Tunnel Rat, who had a lot of camo markings on him, like camo makeup on his arms and on his face, the Nightforce version does not feature that, which is strange because you would think if he was out at night, that would be the time where it would be like really beneficial to, you know, have night camouflage on your face and try to hide the fact that you're skulking around at night. So let's go ahead and put the knife. We'll do the knife first. Let's have him hold the knife before I put it in the sheath. And like I said, it's a fairly large knife. It's larger than most of the knives in the G.I. Joe line. It's not the biggest one, but it is still a pretty big knife, and it's nice and nasty looking. Got like a little serrated edge on the back, and like it's got like a little bit of curve to the blade. I really like this knife. It's a really nice knife, and it fits right into this sheath. You know, of course, we've been over this figure before with the standard version of Tunnel Rat, but it has been a while, so you know, it'd be nice to talk about him again. I do really like this figure. And then he's got the revolver, which fits nice and neatly into this holster. Let's go ahead and put it in his hand first, though. I'm getting ahead of myself. So a lot of one of the criticisms I see a lot of Tunnel Rat in general is that a real Tunnel Rat in the military, you're basically given like a gun and a flashlight and a knife, and then you go into the tunnel. You know, obviously you don't want to have like a whole lot of big accoutrements holding you back when it's being kind of tough to go in there. When you're going into a tunnel and, you know, taking up a lot of room, you know, you're a little guy and you just get like the bare minimum weapons so that you can crawl into that tunnel and see what's what. So a real Tunnel Rat probably looks a little bit more like this, or he's just the gun and the knife and a flashlight, of course. He's got to have his flashlight. Now, modern times, a flashlight probably wouldn't be the accessory that he would have. But let's make him like a... Damn it, I dropped the... Always dropping stuff. Where did it go? Because it didn't want to go into his hand. Why would it want to go into his hand? Did it go into this box? Okay, you know what? For now, we're just going to have one flashlight. It'll be okay. I really want to get this flashlight into his hand now because that happened. Oh, that's irritating. There it is. I found it. Why don't we go ahead, and since I've got the flashlight in his hand now, we're going to put the other one into his backpack to make sure. How about that? There we go. See, it fits into his backpack. So when he's wearing the backpack, he can have the flashlight shining forward. But yeah, a true Vietnam era Tunnel Rat would look something like this, with the flashlight and the gun, and he'd have a knife, and he just crawls into the tunnels and, you know, checks them out. But maybe a more modern Tunnel Rat might have something like this with the night vision goggles. So that way he has his hands free and doesn't have to deal with a flashlight. And of course, like when you get really deep in the tunnels, the night vision goggles might not do you any good at all because you might not have any light at all, not even enough for the night vision goggles to magnify. So it might be good to have like one of those forehead mounted flashlights like I see a lot of the times nowadays, like mechanics use. And I figure that's probably something that gets a lot of use in our modern armed forces. So let's go ahead and put the other flashlight into the backpack. There we go. Now, we got this ammo belt, which is good for the machine gun. Even though the machine gun has ammo on it, like it's probably good to have like backup ammo, I guess. So let's go ahead and put the revolver into the holster. And it fits in there nice and snugly. I think there's supposed to be like a little strap that holds the... I thought there was supposed to be like a little strap that held the revolver in, but I guess not. There are little holes on there, so it kind of makes you think such a thing. So let's go ahead and first let's talk about his articulation before we go any further. So Tunnel Rat can look up about that far, which is pretty good range of motion for looking up as far as you know, a character with such long hair. He can look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side. Of course, turn the head all the way around. This is G.I. Joe classified figure, and like most G.I. Joe classified figures, he has a neck joint both where the neck meets the head and where the neck meets the shoulders. So that gives you a really good range of motion as far as posability for the neck. And it's not too encumbered by this neckerchief. Arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, of course, and it's on a butterfly joint. So the arms can move back about that far and forward about that far. So that's going to be good when it comes time to get him to hold his machine gun. Now, Tunnel Rat has a bicep swivel, So the bicep, of course, rotates all the way around. And then he has double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. And then he has a single joint at the wrist, which rotates all the way around. And on the right wrist, it moves, has a vertical hinge, so it moves up like that and down like that. Again, that's going to come in handy when he's holding that machine gun. Now, his left hand has a horizontal hinge, so it can move inward like this or outward like that. So he's got both types of hinges, so that's nice. Tunnel Rat has an ab crunch, which bends back about that far, so that'll be good for him, crawling through those tunnels or in a prone position as using his machine gun. He can bend forward about that far. He's got a waist articulation that rotates all the way around and kind of wobbles around back and forth. It's kind of similar to the O-ring articulation we had in 1980s GI Joes, but of course it's not an actual O-ring; it's a ball and socket. So Tunnel Rat can kick up about that far, pretty decent range of motion for kicking up. It is on that that drop down joint that we see a lot on GI Joe Classified, so that helps with the posability of the hips. And then he has a thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all the way around. He's got double jointed knees, and that's about the range of motion we get at the knees. And then, of course, he does have a boot cut. It's underneath the pants leg, but it's there, rotates all the way around. And then the ankle can point down about that far, point up about that far. And of course, it's on a rocker ankle, so the ankle itself rotates all the way around where the ankle meets the foot, and it rotates all the way around to the boot cut where the ankle meets, the shin. So that's about the range of articulation on this guy. Pretty good range of articulation, I think. Let's go ahead and get all of his gear on now, since we've been over that. So it looks like to me what we want to do is put the ammo belt on first, and that'll go over this shoulder. Now, fans of the original will remember that that this strap was pretty much invisible because it would have had the ammo belt over it. So let's try to recreate that somewhat. And even on the Classified figure, they just kind of like had the ammo belt and the holster all as one piece. Probably simpler to do it that way, but this is a larger figure, so I guess they could get away with adding some more layers to it. It's not going to look quite as chunky as it would on a 3 3/4 inch. And then we can hang the satchel over his other shoulder, and there we go. So let's go ahead and put his backpack on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of bring his satchel up a little bit so I can stick the backpack peg underneath where the satchel strap is, and I kind of feel like that'll help hold his satchel up some. Sometimes when you have a figure with a satchel, it kind of slides down a little bit. I'm saying the word satchel an awful lot, aren't I? All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can get this backpack on. And it was a little bit of a tight fit, but I think I got it on. So that's what he looks like with all that gear on. And let's go ahead and give him the machine gun. Now, like I was saying, a lot of people have criticized that Tunnel Rat. I talked about this in the previous Tunnel Rat video, but I'm going to talk about it again. A lot of people have criticized that Tunnel Rat comes with such a big honking machine gun and a big honking backpack because, like I said, it's that's a Vietnam era Tunnel Rat would not have that sort of stuff because he's crawling through tunnels, and I'm sure a modern Tunnel Rat would not have that kind of stuff for the same reason. And in fact, we're probably, like I said, have less equipment to carry around because, he probably has a forehead mounted flashlight nowadays. I would imagine that would be a logical thing to do. Try to bend his hand out a little bit so you can cradle the front of the machine gun. And the machine gun does have a bipod that folds out, so we can see that while it's fully extended. And if you wanted to look more like the actual Tunnel Rat machine gun, I suppose you could remove that entirely, because I don't remember that one having a bipod attached to it. Like some of them had the bipod in the folded up but I don't think that Tunnel Rat had one. I could be wrong about that. So if I am, correct me in the comments. Feel free to. Uh, but yeah, there he is with the machine gun. So kind of my idea as to Tunnel Rat is that he, when he's not being a tunnel rat, and he works as the light machine gunner for the rest of the squad. You know, you could have somebody like Roadblock still be like the heavy machine gunner, or Rock and Roll take up the main machine gunner role. But this gives Tunnel Rat something to do when he's not crawling around in tunnels, and I'm fine with him having a secondary position as a machine gunner. And you know, honestly, he just looks so cool with all the gear and everything. Tunnel Rat was one of my favorite figures from the vintage line, and a big part of the reason why he was one of my favorite figures was because he had such cool accessories, and this one has those same cool accessories, just kind of updated, a little more detailed, a little larger, a little few more bells and whistles as far as you know, he's got paint applications on the machine gun, and he's got like, you know, a removable ammo case and all that kind of stuff. And I think the scope might come off too, but I don't remember. It seems like it's on there pretty solid. I don't think it's removable. So, but but yeah, I didn't care about historical accuracy when I was a kid. I didn't care that, like, you know, it didn't really make much sense for a tunnel rat to have a giant machine gun. I just thought he was a cool figure. You know, I didn't care. And honestly, even at the time, I was not aware that the original figure was modeled after Larry Hama. So that wasn't even a fact. It would have been if I had known. I would have thought that was awesome. But I did not know this at the time. And when I found out later, it only heightened my appreciation for Mr. Nicky Lee. That's something I was getting to when I got distracted. Is that even though the character was visually modeled on Larry Hama, you know, as far as the likeness of the character, he didn't actually base the character's personality off of himself. Maybe he felt like that was a little too ostentatious or something. But when Larry created the character's backstory, Nicky Lee was actually of Chinese descent, whereas Larry Hama is of Japanese descent. So that was one way that he chose to make the character different from himself. I believe that, like most characters in G.I. Joe, Larry based Nicky Lee off of somebody that he knew in real life, like a friend of his, so that he could keep the personality consistent. That was a little trick he did. You know, when you're writing all these characters, any little thing you can do to keep the consistency with the characters helps, I suppose. So so yeah. And since it being the holidays and all, Christmas is just around the corner. It's gonna be Christmas before we know it, folks. It reminds me of one of my favorite bits with Tunnel Rat on the GI Joe Renegades cartoon, where like he was talking with Roadblock about how he had to work every Christmas growing up, and Roadblock's like, "You had to work on Christmas?" And he's like, "Yeah, my family owned a Chinese restaurant, and a kosher Chinese restaurant in Brooklyn. You do the math." So I'm a guy who worked in movie theaters for several years, and trust me, I appreciated the Chinese restaurants were open. It was good to know that even on Christmas Day you could get a hot meal. So and of course, one of my favorite Christmas movies, I think like a lot of you watching probably would agree with me, A Christmas Story. You know, had the famous scene where they had Christmas dinner at the Chinese restaurant. So so yeah, eating at the Chinese restaurant is kind of a little bit of an American tradition on Christmas for a lot of people. Even those who don't celebrate Christmas, they got that Christmas tradition at least. So there we go. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Tunnel Rat. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed shooting it. So anyway, do all that fun YouTube stuff. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe. All that stuff down below. Hit the little bell if you want to be warned anytime I go online. Let me know in the comments what you think about Tunnel Rat, both the figure and the character in general. So of the two classified versions of Tunnel Rat we've had so far, which would you say is your favorite? And would you like to see more? Because God knows they repainted this mold a bunch of times in the original line. We've got a Sonic Fighters version, so they could repaint them into the Sonic Fighters version. I was like that one. And of course, they could do a Tiger Force Tunnel Rat because I eat Chinese food every Christmas. Yeah, see, that is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. I remember one year for my family, I don't want to get into like the details of it too much, but we wound up not having a turkey because there was, I guess, some kind of confusion as to who was supposed to prepare the turkey. So we wound up getting like just a whole bunch of Chinese food. And I was just super happy with it. I'm like, yeah, we didn't get our turkey, and I do like turkey, but we still got good food. It's like this is delicious. I'm happy with it. And I think most of us were pretty happy with it. It was still a good Christmas. It really is like the Grinch who stole Christmas a lot of times when you know sometimes you don't really get everything that you want or desire on Christmas, but sometimes it's just not about that. It's about like the feelings deep down. Your $10 tunnel rat came in yesterday, says Lone Dragon. Yeah, can you believe this was $10? This is crazy to me. Like they must have just found like a whole case of them in the warehouse or something, and like, oh geez, we got to get rid of these. And like I said, I wasn't even aware that this figure existed, and like I like to think I keep up with what all's coming out from GI Joe Classified because it is one of my favorite lines. But somehow this one snuck through the cracks on me. It's a really weird thing that happened, but I'm glad I got him. So I do hope that they get around to doing the Sonic Fighters. I'll buy every color they put this figure out in. The original Tunnel Rat figure I think was one of the best sculpts of the original line, and I think Hasbro thought so too because they kept revisiting it. But a Sonic Fighters version would be really cool, and even though it was a foreign release that I never had when I was a kid, it'd be really cool to see the Tiger Force version. And I'm a sucker for Tiger Force, so I'll buy anything Tiger Force that they make. So Lone Dragon says, my small POL BBTS figure was supposed to come today. No update since yesterday. Yeah, I think it just might be a busy time of year for Big Bad Toy Store. I know, I'm waiting on a bunch of stuff from them too. So I'm waiting on a bunch of stuff to still show up in my pile of loot so I can go ahead and order it because I know I've got stuff that's supposed to be coming soon, and I'm kind of reluctant to go ahead and order the stuff in my pile of loot because I know that as soon as I do, right when that happens, right when that happens, that's when they're going to get the rest of that stuff. So I keep waiting. And finally, I'm sure what's going to happen is finally I'm just going to get fed up and just be like, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and order it anyway. And then, like I said, right then, like freaking clockwork. Oh, we got some more stuff coming in for you. Oh, you don't say. But I got a couple of superpowers. I got the Batman figure from the Justice League Task Force. The other ones I'm waiting on to come in before I got the Batman 66 version of Wonder Woman. But the other things that I'm waiting on to come in is the rest of the Justice League Task Force figures. And the thing that I'm waiting for the most, the thing I'm most excited about is that Batman v Superman versus Doomsday 2-pack. Because, I got the black version of Superman from Justice League Task Force, but I really want the red and the blue Superman because I do love my classic Superman. Lone Dragon says, I made the mistake of ordering from Store Horseman Day 1, Minute 2, a figure of Skira, which will make my order one of the last to ship. Ah, bad luck. You would think that would be the opposite. If you're one of the first people to order, it should be one of the first ones to ship, but oh well. That's unfortunate. The second Ghost of Christmas Past I ordered 4 days ago already shipped. Yeah, it's weird how stuff like that works. So it's I don't know, man. Like even those Justice League Task Force figures I was talking about, when I pre-ordered those, it was because like they were coming out in January, and then I get Batman in my pile of loot in November, and I'm like, why are these showing up super early? And Superman is just taking so long. It's crazy. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I've droned on about this guy for long enough. If you're not sick of me hearing me talk about Tunnel Rat, you can go back and watch that older Tunnel Rat video. I'm sure I said a lot of the same stuff too, but it's been so long since I've done it. Remember. So I will be back maybe tomorrow. I'm sure I've got other stuff. I got a lot more stuff I can open. So I'll be back. I don't know what I'm going to open yet. We'll just see. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.